All right, folks. Thanks for joining us this morning. We here at NEIF really appreciate your participation and the fact that you've either woken up early or taken some time out of your day to talk about energy efficiency financing with us. Today is the next installment of the Go Greener Training Academy webinar series that we're running. We'll have a webinar series each month, different topic. And I'm super excited today to discuss how you can drive sales of commercial energy efficiency projects with financing. This is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart. Over the last 12 years of my career, I've sold energy efficiency in several ways, shapes, and forms, mostly as either a lighting retrofit contractor, an electrical distributor that supported said contractor, or a lighting manufacturer's rep. So, in a lot of cases, I've been in your shoes. I have a ton of respect for the folks that are out there trying to educate their customers and encourage them to move forward and achieve the energy goals, the savings goals that come through these projects. So, what we're really here to help you do is to empower your customer to say yes. So we're going to talk a lot about how we can integrate financing into these projects and sweet spots, details that you want to hone in on when pitching this out in the field. It's actually super topical that we're talking about this today because we just closed, actually one of our contractor partners closed a huge deal by integrating financing into their proposal. They specifically were not going to be able to float the project, and we're going to be able to pre-fund them in a way, shape, or form so that they won't have to come out of pocket full cost. And their customer signed off on the job. However, they were never going to be able to come up with the capital expenditure to be able to go forward with the project. So it was really a win-win-win. And that type of partnership is what we want to achieve with you out in the field. So before I jump into, today's talk track, I kind of wanted to elaborate a little bit more on NEIF, what we do, and what the partnership can mean to you. So first of all, we ask folks to sign up and become an NEIF approved contractor. There's absolutely no cost to work with us, and there's a ton of benefit. The NEIF seal of approval, we like to think is something really special. Along with that seal of approval comes a ton of benefit. The first thing, which we'll talk about a little bit today, is the ability for NEIF approved contractors to work in utility programs that we've set up that have subsidized rates. These are really attractive and are really a great selling point to your customer. Sometimes we can offer a rate as low as 0% to a customer, as opposed to a large capital expenditure outlay. It's a great vehicle to be able to help you close more business. The second thing, on the residential side, we offer our Energy Plus loan, which has no contractor fee associated with it. This is fundamentally different than everyone else that's in the space, and we think it's a huge differentiator for you when you're going into the home. You can offer a sharp rate and a low cost of project to the customer. Beyond that, we do a lot of small business and also large C&I commercial financing. And we also have a rebate bridge and rebate advance funding tool so that, customers can get, our contractors can get their rebate back from the utility in a quicker fashion if they're paying slowly. We feel that if you're using, a financing partner in the space, I think it's really important to make sure that that company is a niche and focused provider of energy efficiency lending. We really understand it well, and our reputation is such that the U.S. Department of Energy has looked at us and said, hey, you're a proven and tested partner. We're also the nation's only certified B Corp, which means that, yeah, we are for profit, but we're here for sustainable development, and economic development as well. So we really believe in the process that we're funding, and we're here end to end to make sure that everything works correctly. Beyond that, there's a ton of training, sales tools, and support that we offer versus maybe some of the other people that are lending in the space. And all of this comes free to any NEIF approved contractor. We can market, we can brand, we can build things hand in hand with you, because our goal is really to help you close more business, and we only win together. So today, we're going to talk about how we can drive more energy efficiency sales. So some questions that might come up as you were looking at this and deciding to join this webinar today. Why would I use financing to sell more? It's just going to cost me more money. Well, no, I'm going to tell you how this can be a really great tool for you to use. What's the optimal way to close a project? I'm sure there, in lighting, I always used to say there's, 1,000 ways to skin the cat. We're going to show you some optimal pathways to closing more business. And we're also going to talk about what systems are in place from NEIF to their approved contractors so that they can leverage, the rebate, the financing, and be able to pitch through our commercial proposal tool a quick synopsis of what it means for a customer to go ahead and utilize financing and take a look at cash flow analysis and say, hey, this makes sense for me versus capital expenditure. So why do we care about financing and why we're going to use it? Well, I can tell you for sure that if you use financing on every proposal, you will sell more. We have the data in-house. We've been working with folks for years now, and we're seeing more and more contractor partners elect to utilize a financing component through our portal tool, and their close rates are up. We hear it all the time. We get a bunch of positive feedback from our customers saying, hey, this really helps us close more business. And though commercial financing might be a newer or novel idea in the space, especially in markets where energy is expensive, this is not exactly a new process. So you might see competitors offering financing, but where you choose to integrate and who you choose to work with makes a huge difference. And because we're a lender that's focused heavily in the energy efficiency and home resilience space, we're going to be able to provide the tools, the tips, the training, and the best rates to be able to help you close more business. So over the course of my career, I've come up with kind of what I see as the standard model and how energy efficiency projects are pitched. Usually a contractor comes up with a proposal, they do their work, size everything up, do an audit, build a proposal. Let's say the proposal is $100,000. They work with the utility to find out what rebates are available. Let's say there's a $30,000 rebate, and then they would present a $70,000 cost to customer that would be paid in cash. They might present a simple payback, might present a simple ROI, maybe IRR or NPV, but they're encouraging the customer to pay cash for that net rebate cost of the project. In this rising rate environment, we're really seeing that folks are saying, hey, I love all the values that come with going forward with this project. However, I can't come in our example, I can't come out of pocket for $70,000. So sometimes we find that this standard model is really not enough to close the deal. And that's what our financing is all about. We're going to show you today how to include a low monthly payment option, which is very attractive to an end user that might have other considerations and other, upgrades that they need to spend for their business versus the capital expenditure. So when there's no capital available, what we normally see is a ton of delays. A customer might say, hey, I can flag this for CapEx next year. I'm doing budgeting this year. That's going to be a delay. It's going to cause a lot of follow-up, a lot of hand-holding. And companies have already put a lot of time into developing the proposal, selling the proposal, highlighting all the attributes and why a customer should do it. They don't have capital that could be earmarked for next year. It could be delayed for a multitude of reasons. Hey, we got to figure out this, that, the other thing. We got to get upper level approval. It can't come out of my budget. So it causes a lot of pain and effort for the salesperson and for the contracting firm to follow up and try to close this deal. Every call that you make in the future is opportunity cost versus where you could be focused on the next deal. So you're spending a lot more time trying to close a deal where your close ratio every time is becoming lower and lower. I like to call this a sales autopsy. You got to bring this whole thing back to life. And I think that, if you start to include financing in this, you might not have to spend all the time that you normally do when there's no capital to try to close the deal. So there are a lot of options when someone doesn't have capital. What can you do to try to get them to say yes? Well, you can revise the scope. If you had an A-grade product going into this project, maybe a top of the line LED fixture, you could look at a B-grade product, but that's not a great option because guess what? That's revenue coming off the top, potentially profit coming off the top. So we really don't recommend doing that. I've went down this road before and I still had to scramble to find the next job to make my numbers. You could offer a phased approach as well. Let's say we're doing a building and there's 5 floors and you decide, hey, Mr. Customer, do you think you can move forward with floor 1 this year? And maybe we could do a phased approach over the next 5 years. They might say yes to that. But if you've already forecasted and modeled, your year's sales based on that, you're going to have to come up with, the value of those other 5 or 4 floors. So if it was $100,000 job and you're only making doing 20,000 on the first floor, you've got to get out there and find another $80,000 worth of business. That's not a great model, even if it's secured business over the course of time. And another model, unfortunately, that I've used in the past, and the customer says, hey, I don't have X amount of money, but if you could shave it 5 or 10 points, I think I could go ahead with it. That's just coming out of the company's pocket. So we really don't recommend that you try to reduce margin. In the end, none of these things at the top of the page are great options. They're all concessions that you're making just to try to get a customer to say yes. And then you have to scramble to figure out where my next project is. So the better yet, the next best thing that you could offer is financing. So NEIF is actually an approved finance, third-party financier of many utility programs that are out there. Some of them we have a subsidized rate, which goes down to as low as 0%. Some of them we have a marketing partnership. And, there's trust, credibility, transfer trust, all those things that you can bring to the table. So that's something that we really like to leverage and let you know, hey, our name is out there. We're a trusted and true lender in this space. And furthermore, NEIF uses a multitude of capital providers, which are vetted and focused on the same vertical, which will allow us to provide you and your customer with the best rate possible. I've seen in the past, people go out for capital wherever they find it, and the rates, the numbers not coming back focused on, what we would need to be offering to make these deals go down. So there are a lot of benefits of offering financing. The first one, if you're pitching financing along with the capital expenditure, you're going to increase your engagement with the customer. You're going to have more conversation. It's going to go on longer, especially if you offer financing first and often on every project. People are going to see, hey, I understand what the CapEx cost of this project is. but I see the financing, note on your proposal. What does that look like? Because I might be able to fund this out of OpEx as opposed to CapEx. And you can continue to have that conversation as opposed to the cycle of pitching a proposal and following up every 3 months and trying to create some urgency with your customer. So we think that's really valuable. And if you offer it first and often on your proposals, you'll see a change in the way that your customers discuss this with you. Another great benefit that we can offer from NEIF is we can cover the total cost of project. So that includes material, labor, if there are design fees, if there's a sub that's coming in to do a specific upgrade that your company doesn't do, we can cover all of that. And we can focus all of that into the monthly payment structure. So there's no limit to what we can do in that space. Another great benefit, and I stress this so much, another great benefit that we have is we can pre-fund. So typically what I see in the space when I talk to contractors, if they're doing an energy efficiency project, I see anywhere from a 25% to 50% down payment that customer is asking their customer for. That can be troubling. Startup costs are real. We know that lead times are long, products are more expensive, transportation costs are more expensive, and asking your customer to come up with cash out of pocket can be challenging. You still have to go through that cycle of getting a signature from upper level management to get the down payment so that I can start the project. I do the project, and then progress payments can be difficult as well. It's another point of follow-up with that customer. With NEIF, when you position a loan to your customer, we can pre-fund you 50% up front and 50% at the end. So we're funding you, and you never have to have a conversation with your customer about, hey, I need money for startup costs, or hey, I've completed the job. When can I get paid on this? Because we understand it's tough out there. You've got to make payroll. You've got to pay your open AR with your distributors. You've got to pay your subs. So I think pre-funding can be a huge change and differentiator in the way that you go to market if you choose to use NEIF on your projects. Furthermore, you're avoiding the capital expenditure pitfalls and all the project delays that come with asking for a large capital expenditure on a project. Another benefit is working with someone who's a trusted lender in this space. And we've got multiple partners, references. We've been in this space for some time now that we can leverage and show the transfer of trust and the viability of working with us. Another thing that I've found, another benefit, is that you can really, as opposed to cutting costs and trying to get to a payback or a capital expenditure like net rebate cost that a customer would approve, if you're using financing, you can use higher efficiency, higher quality equipment to close these deals, which is also offering that customer, better total cost of ownership and a overall better holistic solution for their facility, something that they might not have to maintain, touch, consider over the course of time. If it's built into financing, we're less focused on the bottom dollar cost. So I think here we want to talk about the process. The first thing, I think most folks here are probably signed up with NEIF. If you're not, we'll send you a link. There's no cost to become an NEIF approved contractor, and there's all the benefits. One of the biggest benefits, we've talked about them before in the last slide, but one of the biggest benefits that we offer is this monthly payment structure that you can create on your own on our commercial portal. Within 30 seconds to 2 minutes, if you have the total project costs, rebate, annual energy savings in dollars, and any maintenance savings, you can snap out a proposal online for your customer and show them exactly where the rubber meets the road. This is a tool that is absolutely new in the marketplace. We're really excited about it. we find that when we pitch it to our contracting partners, they utilize it often, and they lead with financing right below their executive summary. It's really something that's different. I've utilized financing to close deals before. I had wished that when I was out in the field, I had something like this. It would have made it so easy to close deals. And I'm going to stop for a second here because we have some questions. So Patrick asks, where can we access the tool? So if you are an NEIF contractor, you should have commercial portal credentials that you can log in. If you don't have them, you can shoot me a note and we'll make sure that we get them to you today so you can start playing around in the tool. I highly recommend that you test this, give it a look. There's no cost to making a proposal. You can snap off multiple proposals for your customer, give them a good, better, best. So absolutely, Patrick, we'll follow up with you and get you some revised credentials so that you can play around in the tool. And furthermore, I know I've said it before, but it really benefits not only the salesperson, but also the company to discuss financing with all of your customers on every job. And the reason that I say this is because I think back in my career and I go, hey, could this have worked on X project, on X project? Before NEIF, I didn't know that a solution like this existed. And when I was out in the field selling lighting retrofit projects, there was no way to really take all of this data, crunch it, and show where the monthly energy savings and the monthly payment lead to a positive cash flow. And if you're looking below here in the monthly payment estimates, over here where you have a positive number of 406 in the green, that's really the sweet spot in this project. That means that the cost of doing this is less than the monthly savings. And by doing this project, you're actually creating money, creating a revenue stream for your business that you can use for whatever other solution, whatever other item upgrade is needed within your facility, within the customer's facility. So if they needed a new sign, they needed a new piece of equipment, they needed a new truck, they can use this money to go ahead and realize those other things that are in need. We think that that's really important, and that's a real selling point that folks can use to get customers to say yes. So obviously this proposal tool is unique, it's free, it's super easy to use. We really recommend that you utilize this and push this on every project, because then now you're going to have two horses in the race. The optimal way that we see is pitching the executive summary, the simple payback, along with a monthly payment structure, either under it, which you can snip and put in the proposal, or adding, our printout from the proposal tool on the back page. Now you have two horses in the race, and you can increase your chances of closing the deal. So how do you offer this? Well, you go into the tool, you add your project costs, whatever rebate that you've already talked to the utility. If you have an LOA, you know exactly what your rebate will be. Any energy savings in dollars on a yearly basis, as well as any maintenance savings if you calculate them. You take those pieces of information, put in the details of the project, and within 2 minutes, you can snap out a proposal like the one you see on the right. We'll give a total project cost and a net rebate cost below, reducing based on incentive. And then we'll start to break it down. So we give an annual savings, 10-year savings, and a 6-month cost of delay. We do that to kind of identify really what the crux of this project is and create some urgency with the customer saying, hey, every day that you wait, this is what it costs. In this case, we show 6 months, but it's an easy mathematical equation to break it down to what the savings on a project would be on a daily basis. And then furthermore, when a customer understands those values, we start to look at the monthly payment. The monthly energy savings is calculated by the contractor. And the monthly payment that's right next to it will include any rate that would be associated with the project. And as we said before, it's really key where the rubber hits the road, where it becomes cash flow positive. That's really where we want to sell this project. So in the example given on the right, within 5 years, 6 years, or 7-year terms, it's cash flow positive. The savings is covering the monthly payment, and the customer's realizing, a new stream of revenue that they can use however they want in their business. If you offer these both ways, we can ensure that you'll close more business. And I'm trying to keep it short and sweet today. So that's kind of, how we see including financing into your proposals as being a great tool, a great offering, and a great way to close more business. If you have any questions or you'd like a follow-up, you can shoot me an email. We can do a training individualized to your team and dig in a little bit deeper. We love the opportunity to talk with you, and we really look forward to partnering with you, close more business. So at this point, I'm going to open it to a few more questions. I saw a hand go up in the participant section. Does someone have a question? Okay, Patrick, is 50% upfront funding for the project consistent across all your loan offerings? Yes and no. When we're working with utilities and we have a subsidized rate that's offered by them, they make the distinction of whether pre-funding is allowed or not. Right now, in most utility programs, we have discussed the opportunity to include pre-funding, but that's not available at this given time. If you're doing a market rate where you can still enjoy the utility rebate, but there's no subsidized rate from the utility, we can pre-fund in almost any setting. And usually the situation is 50% upfront. Robert, yes, I will send the deck out. Absolutely. Patrick, when it comes to solar, the model is a little bit different. We can do monthly payment to buy, we can do a lease, and we can do a PPA. That doesn't necessarily fit into our proposal tool as well. Proposal tool is more focused on energy efficiency measures, but I'd love to take this offline with you and discuss some of our options regarding solar. Any other questions, folks? Okay, great. Well, hey, thanks everybody for taking the time to chat today. We look forward to working with you and partnering with you to help you close more business. That's what we're all about. So feel free to reach out to me. I will send the slide decks out, and be sure to tune in for the next installment of our webinar series, where our co-founder, Matthew Brown, will be discussing the Inflation Reduction Act and what that might mean, how you can leverage any federal rebates or tax credits as part of the projects that you're pitching. Thanks, folks. Talk soon. Bye.